So today we're tackling a question that's moved way beyond the tech lab. It's in the boardroom, and honestly, it's heading straight for the courtroom. We live in a world where AI is shaping huge decisions, like who gets a job or who gets a loan. Because of that, our ability to understand why an algorithm made a decision is no longer just a nice-to-have. It's quickly becoming a critical legal and ethical must-have. Let's dive in.
Okay, picture this. Your company's got this amazing cutting-edge AI, and it just rejected someone's loan application. A little while later, that applicant, or even worse, a regulator, calls you up and asks for a simple explanation. What do you say? The algorithm decided? Yeah, that answer doesn't fly anymore. In fact, it's a massive legal liability. This one simple question really gets to the heart of this huge shift in how we have to think about artificial intelligence.
You know, for years, we've all been using what's called black box AI. These are these incredibly powerful, complex systems that give you an answer, but you can't really see the logic inside. And look, that was totally fine when it was just recommending a movie on Netflix, but it is dangerously, dangerously inadequate now that these same kinds of systems are making life-altering decisions in things like hiring, lending, and even healthcare. So yeah, the age of the black box is pretty much over.
So, if the black box is the problem, then what's the solution? Well, it's something called Explainable AI, or XAI for short. And this isn't just some technical upgrade, it's a whole new philosophy. It's about building systems that don't just spit out answers, but can actually show their work. It's about turning all that complex automation into something we can finally hold accountable.
When you really boil it down, XAI is about one simple thing: making an AI's reasoning visible. It's about pulling back the curtain so we can actually trace the logic, understand the key factors, and check for ourselves that the whole decision-making process was fair and, followed the rules. It's the difference between just getting a verdict and actually getting an explanation.
I really love this metaphor because it's just so perfect. XAI is that essential bridge. You see, machine logic can operate at a speed and a scale that we just can't, but human understanding, that's what provides the context, the ethics, the fairness. This bridge lets us validate the machine's work, challenge it when we need to, and ultimately, to actually trust the outcomes that our technology is producing.
Okay, so let's look at how this goes from being a cool concept to a core business strategy. The source material for this really puts it perfectly. You just can't trust what you can't explain. Every single time you use a black box AI for a critical task, you are actively building risk into your company. And with new regulations popping up all over the world that give people a right to an explanation, that risk isn't just hypothetical anymore, it's a direct threat to your compliance.
This really lays out the two paths you can take. On one side, you have these black box systems. They can easily become a breeding ground for hidden bias, which leads to lawsuits and just completely erodes your customers' trust. But on the other side, explainable AI helps you build resilience because it makes your systems auditable. It gives you the tools to prove you're being fair, which is the foundation for credibility and, frankly, the key to staying on the right side of regulators.
So, whose job is this anyway? The engineers? The data scientists? The real answer is, it's everyone's. This is not just some techie task that gets pushed to a team in the back room. Building and maintaining AI you can actually trust is a shared responsibility. It's a cultural thing, an operational thing, and it touches every single part of a modern company. It's a whole new kind of governance.
Let's break that down a bit. Leaders, well, they need explainability so they can confidently sign off on AI-driven strategies and actually defend them if someone asks questions. Your developers need it as a diagnostic tool so they can find bias and build better, more reliable models. Your compliance and HR teams absolutely depend on it to prove that you're upholding all the legal standards for fairness. And, maybe most importantly, customers and citizens, we all deserve it. We have a right to understand and appeal decisions that can totally change our lives.
And this all brings us to the most crucial point. As AI gets more and more powerful, leadership has to evolve right along with it. The job is no longer just to innovate. The new mandate is to innovate responsibly. And that all starts by asking much tougher, much more specific questions about the systems you're building and using.
Start with this one. It's the most basic test. If someone on your team can't walk you through the fundamental logic of why the AI made a certain decision, you've got a black box. And what you really have is a significant auditable problem just waiting to happen.
Then, you have to raise the stakes. This is the human question. I mean, it's one thing to explain why someone saw a certain ad online. It's a whole different ballgame to explain why they were denied a mortgage, why they were rejected for a job, or why they were flagged for a serious medical condition. Can you meet that standard when it really truly matters?
And finally, here's the ultimate question. Is this all just an afterthought, a patch you try to apply after something goes wrong?
Or are you building your AI systems with transparency and human oversight baked in from the very beginning, by design? Because if you're not just automating a process, you are abdicating your responsibility.
So here's a real bottom line. Explainable AI isn't just another item you can check off on a feature list. It is a direct reflection of your organization's commitment to accountability, to fairness, and to trust. It's basically the new cost of entry for doing business in the age of AI, and it's a responsibility that starts and ends with leadership. The question is no longer if you'll need it, but if you'll be ready when you are legally required to explain yourself.